excited to have you here. As usual, guys, you know how we do it here. As you come online, let me know where you are watching me from. Say hello, give the video a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithms and it helps to make sure the video gets to a lot more people. So as I promised, this is going to be the first in our series of the Green Card 101, where we are going to be talking about what to expect for the green card. From the shooting of this video, we have less than a month to when the DV 2024 green card results are going to be out. So a lot of people have been sending me questions. They have been DMing me. Others have been asking in the comment section, Eva, what should we expect? And that's the gist of why we are having this video. So in the next couple of days, you're going to see a lot of videos under the US green card series. So basically this is the permanent residence lottery thing for the US. So in case you're not familiar, so it's almost similar like how we have express entry for Canada, but this is more lottery based. Remember, the Canadian one is more very strategic, very deliberate, but this is lottery, like it's out of sheer chance and luck. Although there is a bare minimum of what is required for you to apply for the green card, you must have at least a high school diploma and or 2 years work experience in some subjects that they would probably another topic for another video, and will come to around October when the applications open again. So for this particular DV lottery results, we are going to be looking at it's expected around May or 8, 2023 for the results to be out, for you to know who has won and who hasn't won. So that's pretty much about 3 weeks from the shooting of this video, and we're going to have a lot of videos. So today we are looking at what happens after you have won the DV green card lottery. So generally, and what I mean by winning in this particular context, it means you have been pre-selected for the diversity visa. Remember, every year only 50,000 green cards are issued, but more than 50,000 applicants are invited. So generally about 100,000 people are pre-selected, but eventually only 50,000 green cards are issued every year. And the reason is because so for example, some people don't follow the instructions, so they are there sitting waiting for an email to let them know that they have won a green card, when we know that there's no email sent to you. You have to go and check it by yourself to know if you have won. And towards the May 7 or May 8 date, I will do another video that shows you how to know whether you have won or not. We also have people that are ineligible at the time they were applying. Maybe somebody didn't have a high school diploma and they submitted the application and they win, but they are not eligible. We also have cases where people gave fraudulent information and now they're scared to go through with it, and so many other reasons why people don't pursue the green card to the very end. Some people don't have the money. Remember, it costs money to get your green card eventually. So there's a lot of people who drop out of the process, and that's why to get to this 50,000 number, the US invites about 100,000 people every year. So what happens, the first thing you want to do is, so fortunately for this DV, the one that was done in 2022 applications, you didn't have to have a passport, for example, to apply. So there's a lot of people who probably applied and they don't have passports. And I would encourage you, if you fall in that group, please, you need to go and get your passport, because things change. And a lot of like these DV green card issues are usually based on pronouncements by the existing US president. They could come up with a rule and say, if you don't have your passport, then you can't, like they could come up with anything. So just make sure you have your passport. So what you're going to need to do, as soon as the results are out and they have been announced, you want to go into the system, that the same system used to apply, and confirm if you have won. If you have won, you need to fill out your DS-160 form. So this is the immigrant visa application, unlike the DS-160, which is for non-immigrants. So you're going to fill the DS-160 form. They're going to ask you a lot of information. And again, just make sure whatever you're putting in there matches what you entered in your application for the green card, unless, of course, things have changed. So for example, maybe at the time you were applying, you were a single applicant, but you got married between October last year and May this year, you got married, so you want to update that information. Or maybe I got a child between that time when I submitted my application and today, so you need to update that information. Or maybe you got divorced, or you separated, or your spouse passed away, or your child passed away. So any new information that may have come up between when you applied and when the results come out, you're going to update them in the DS-160. But one thing you do not want to do is, let's say you didn't include your child who was existing then when you were submitting your application, and then you want to include them right now. Doesn't work like that unless you have officially adopted them and you have proof, legal paper proof that happened. Remember, for these countries, European, American, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen. So that's one thing you want to make sure you do your DS-160 form as soon as the results are out. If you have been invited or you have won, you want to go in and fill in that application as soon as possible. And the reason is because you're filling in this application, it goes to Kentucky Consular Center, that is KSCC, and they are the ones that collect all the applications and process them, and they're processed on a fast come, fast serve basis. Remember, there's 100,000 of you who have won, but they only need 50,000. So you want to make sure that you're in the top 50,000, so that, because it's a fast come, fast serve basis. And also keep in mind that the number of applications in the folder doesn't count here. So for example, if I win the DV Green Card Lottery and in my family we are 4 of us, then I, as the head of the household or the principal applicant, I get picked up. It counts for 1 and not 4, even though we are 4 of us in the family. And then once you get pre-selected, remember you receive a new number, which is different from the one you received when you submitted your application to that website. So this number can be small or it can be high, depending on how many applications were picked before yours. So for example, like when the US government is assigning the 100,000 winners, they're not just picked at once, it's done randomly and people are assigned numbers randomly. So what it means is that the closer your number is to 0, the higher your chances of you getting selected to get the visa than if, let's say, your number is 990,000, for example. So for those of you who are believers, maybe this is the time when you start praying, not only for you to win the lottery, but also to have a number that is as close as possible to 0. Because remember, there's 100,000 of you, but they only need 50,000. So if you are the people who believe in prayer, then you just don't want to be praying for a win. You want to be very strategic. You pray for a win that is closer to 0. So now let's say you get a number that is like, let's say you get 15,000. That's the number that you get, the new number that you get. So you will have to complete all these forms. There's so many of them that you fill, and where you will list like your employers. Remember, you had said you have work experience. I want to have to say who these people are. You said you have a high school diploma or you have a degree, whatever. You're going to need to fill out all that information, where you have been living since you were, I think, 16 or is it 18, and all that information. You're going to enter it. And then all this information gets sent to Kentucky Consular Center. So once you have done that, remember that the government of the US is only going to give 50,000 green cards. Yeah. So always keep that at the back of your mind. They're only giving 50,000 green cards, but they have invited like 100,000 people. So that means that for every form that is not filled well, for every somebody who decides they don't want to continue with their application, for every somebody who didn't know that they were supposed to check their visa, for everyone who lied on their profile, for everyone who added a child who previously didn't exist but wasn't born between when they submitted the application, like for all those cases, then it means it increases your chance of succeeding. In case your paperwork is correct, you have been truthful in your application, everything can be verified, then it just increases your chances of succeeding. So let's say if 500 applications have errors, or the people didn't apply, or they lied, or do all these kind of things, and you are number 15,000, then automatically you become number 14,500. So I hope you see how this thing works, yeah? So the fact that you're very diligent in submitting your application and all the required documents, and you do everything well, it just increases your chances of being successful. And the more people who don't follow the rules, the better for you. So you want to be in the group that is following the rules, and everything is so clear. Every document that you submit, you're gonna get feedback from Kentucky on the next process. And you also have to be very mindful that around this time in May, and you're gonna see a lot of it, in May, there's going to be a lot of scammers who will be scamming you. Oh, this is where you check if you have won. But I would encourage you, if you're not sure where to check, you can be sure about a day or two to when the results are out. I'll be here on a live, and I'll be showing you guys how to check that you don't get conned, because a lot of people get scammed. Remember, this process is still free at this point. And then what you need to do is that, so the bottom line is, the moment you realize that you have won the green card, you want to start immediately. In fact, by now you should have started doing basic things like verifying your academic certificates. I know, like in Kenya, for example, you have to go to the Kenya National Examination Council. I want to believe that applies to other countries, and there's an entire video right here on the channel that shows you how to go about that. And you want to, if let's say you were married but you didn't have a certificate, you want to make sure you've gone to the Attorney General and done that. If let's say you just had a customary marriage, if let's say you got separated, you need your divorce decree. If one of your spouses passed on, for example, you need to have the death certificates with you. If your child, if you gave birth to a new baby, you need to have the birth certificate. If you didn't have a passport, you need to have one. Like all those nitty-gritties. And of course, you're gonna need money. So in my next video, we're gonna talk about how much money you need to show proof of at the embassy when you submit, when you get your DV green card. Remember, winning the green card does not guarantee you getting the visa. You still have to go in for an interview at the US Embassy for them to really confirm your admissibility into Canada. So that is very important, and we're gonna look at that in the next video in this series. So how it works, let's say, for example, so we are looking at the DV green card that people applied for in 2022. So how it works is that if you apply, let's say in 2022, you get to apply for the diversity visa program for 2022 plus 2 years. So it's usually the year of application plus 2. So if you applied in 2022, you're basically looking at DV Lottery 2024. That's how it works. So one thing you have to keep in mind, however, is that as much as you are applying for the year you applied plus 2, this entire process must end by September 30 of the year you applied plus 2. So in this case, if you applied in 2022, plus 2 is 2024. So this means you must have gone for the interview, you must have submitted your DS-160, you must have gone for your medicals, you must have done all these things, and all your documents are in Kentucky Consular Center by September 30, 2024 at the latest. So that's how it works. It's a year of application plus 2 and not the calendar year, yeah? So that's what you're looking at. So the DV program, like the one of 2022 opened in October, and then it usually ends somewhere in November. And then we have the results out about 6 months later, that is in May. So we are hoping it to be around 7th or 8th of May, but I'll share with you when it's towards that time. So what you want to do is make sure that as soon as the results are out, you're ready with your DS-160 form. In fact, some of you can start, but now you can look at that because you're gonna need your case number. So you start applying your DS-160, look at what is required. For example, you're gonna need an address in the US where your green card, remember when you apply for the green card at the embassy, they're gonna give you a temporary visitor visa for about 6 months just for you to enter the US. And then a month later, they will give you the green card, the physical green card, and they will send it to a US address. So this is a time where you need to start looking for hosts, and we'll cover it. I think maybe the video after this or 2 videos after this, we'll talk about whether or not you need a host in the US. Is it compulsory? If you don't have one, what options do you have? We're going to talk about that as well. So these are some of the things you want to start looking at. And of course, you're going to need money, as I already mentioned. So, and they're gonna need your passport number as well. So those are the kind of things you need to start looking at now before we get the results. So the main things you want to be aiming for is that you submit your DS-160 and all the accompanying forms to Kentucky. You get the pre-selection being done, the confirmation that your documents have been received, and an appointment at the US Embassy, as well as for your medicals. And I don't know about other countries, but I know in Kenya you can only go to, you have to go to doctors that have been, are they called pre-qualified? In Kenya, I know you can only go to one place, that is the UN IOM office in Gigiri. And you need like a letter from the embassy, not from the embassy, from Kentucky, for you to go and do that medical report. So all these things must happen, including your interview, by September 30. So guys, make sure that you're looking out for those dates. And before you head to this embassy appointment, you need to collect every item that you will need to show during the appointment. So proof of financial capability, proof of if you said you're married, if people are your children, your academics, you said you have work experience, all those proofs, you're gonna need to have them. So once you get all your medical records and all the documents you need, including your passports, you go to your appointment, and that's the point where you're gonna pay some money. I don't know how it is, but I know like maybe it's like $400, I don't know, 500, I'm not sure, but it's a lot of money, it's not little money. And then they're just gonna interview you at the embassy, and it's nothing major. They're just gonna basically be asking, wanting to confirm that you can take care of yourself once you get to the US, at least the first 6 months. Those are the difficult ones, unless you're very lucky. So those are the things they're looking at. And just to confirm that what you said about yourself is actually true, and they keep your passport for like 2 weeks thereafter. And I think during this time, they'll just be verifying the things that you promised them. So at this point also in time, you should be knowing where in the US you want to land when you arrive, because there are like, is it 51 or 52 states in America, and they're all different. So those are some of the things you need to start looking at right now, just to be sure that when you book your first trip to the US, you know which state you're going to be landing in, you know which city you're going to be landing in. And those are the things you're going to be looking at in today's video. How do you decide which province to, sorry, not province, which city, which state to land in when you get the green card? How do you decide when to go? How do you decide whether all of you should go, or some of your family members should go, or others should follow, and all those kind of decisions? Those are the things we are going to be talking about in the next series. So guys, in a nutshell, what I'm saying, once you get, when you win the green card lottery, you just have to start going. But don't wait until then. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the documents you need to start looking out for. There will also be another video in terms of what amount of money should you show as proof of funds. We are going to be talking about getting a host in the US. Must you have a host? If yes, where do you find them? Let's say if you don't have family, you don't have relatives in the US, what other places or where else can you find a host, and all other topics around the US green card lottery. And you're welcome, guys, to chip in and share with me in the comment section below if you have any questions that you want me to handle them. I'm going to do this series in very small bits. I don't want the videos to be too long, because people are asking different questions, and some of them just want to go straight to the question of the day. So I'm going to quickly read your comments, and then I will close this. Vicky Jones is saying you are welcome. Thank you so much. Chioni, so I applied and I'm praying for it. Works in your favor. Amen. But remember, we have said we are not just praying to get the green card. We are praying to get a number as close as possible to 0. Yeah. This is very informative. Thank you. You are also welcome, Chioni. So Edgar is saying hi, watching from Kenya. Karibu. Do you think they can waiver the proof of funds if you have an offer letter from a company? Chioni, so we are going to talk this more in depth, because it's not a yes or no question. But yes, but I will explain it in the next video. I don't want this one to be too long. So guys, thank you so much. Please watch the next video. We are going to be looking at the proof of funds. We are going to be looking at hosts and all that. So you are welcome. It is going to be soon after this live, because I don't want to make this video too long. See you on the next one. Bye.